Hey guys, this is Bear. I'm a member of the Canadian hat-trick community, and today I would like to talk about youth academies, more in particular scouting pools. In case you didn't know about the hat-trick community, it's a Discord server. There we're sharing very common achievements, we're sharing youth academy progress, or we're chatting about the national teams. If you're interested in things like that, feel free to join. I'll put the link in the description below. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Maybe something about me real quick. I started the game like maybe in 2009, back in the day when I was playing soccer with my friends. We got into the game, and as life happens, you get dragged away and whatever and whatnot. So I very lately returned back to the game. But as a young 16-year-old, I had ambitions in this game, and I'm basically now wanting to make up for it. I happened to come across the Canadian community, and they have been very nice to me, and I would highly suggest everyone to join that community. And now let's dive into scouting the most effective way in the youth academy in hattrick.org. Let's talk about the post of Hattrick Tassos, where he says that you get a 1 out of 3 chance to pull a 15-year-old every time you are pulling youth players. Well, I got curious, and that's why I was asking my Canadian fellow managers if they were interested in participating in like a group where we would be collecting data from various different regions in Canada. I wanted to figure out what the actual 15-16 ratios were, and also how big of an impact the group of 12 managers and almost 20 teams, how big the impact is of those scouts in these areas. Well, this idea isn't new. Very recently I have stumbled over the post of Torkelhair. Torkelhair is currently the leader of the National Liga A in Switzerland, and they have been doing that back in 2015 and well before everyone else has done it. They have collected data over almost 4,800, I believe, talents. And well, that's why I basically started reaching out to him, was curious about what they have been finding out. Well, he basically says that Tassos was right. He says that 2/3 are 16s, 1/3 are 15s, but what you can change is the actual days of age. Like if you would be farming a pool for long enough, you would see the reduction of the daily ages all the way down to 15, 10 and stuff like that. Though what is to be considered is that the actual drop of the potential of these players, like the lower the number actually is, usually the lower their skill set at this point of their career, which leads to the conclusion that basically these players have to be aging in a pool for a while to basically build up their overall skill set in the youth pool, then for you to be scouted. But after diving into the pools and collecting our data, we ended up with our first scouting location, Prince Edward Island. And in Prince Edward Island, in the first week, we ended up with a 15-16 ratio of 10.6% to 89%, meaning 1 out of 10 were 15-year-olds in that pool. That really doesn't match what Tassos was saying. Now watch what happened in week number 2. Here we are with 15 managers, 72 prospects. The 15-16 ratio was shifting to 30-70-ish, and that was an increase of 19.6 percentage points. Well, what does that mean? That means that there's pools where the 15-year-olds have been drained drastically by just selecting the 15-year-olds and then tossing the 16-year-olds back in the pool. And that's what I would refer to a toxic pool. And what we also know is that the pools don't adjust in week number 1, meaning when there's a big group moving into a pool, it will only adjust the week after and not the actual week that you're in. So what does that allow us? That allows us to find out how big our impact is of the 72 scouts that has just moved into that area and that has solely focused on draining the 16-year-olds over that first period. We have been pushing out the 16-year-olds. The pool has adjusted by almost 20%. That means what we have to consider in that calculation is, if Tassos is right, then from these 72 scouts that are now joining the pod, 33% of those have to be 15-year-olds, meaning in our case 24. Then also, if we consider that this toxic pool is adjusting to that same ratio, then these 24 16-year-olds that are being eliminated are being replaced by 24 15-year-olds. That means not just do we lose 24 16-year-olds, we also add 24 15-year-olds. And if that's the case, then we come to the conclusion that 24 15-year-olds that are being added plus 24 15-year-olds that are being added by replacing the 16-year-olds and minus 24 16-year-olds, that minus 24 16-year-olds is also adding towards the 15-year-old ratio. That's why plus 24 leads then to a 19.6%. With that number, we can then calculate how many prospects are actually in the pool. Now, if 72, if 24 plus 24 plus 24, if 72 is 19.6%, then the whole pool would be around 367 talents. This is really just an estimate. And this also is only the number of 15-year-olds that have been changing. So if that's a third, right, then we just have to multiply that by 3. And then we know how many players are actually in this pool. Now, if we would go and manually count all the scouts that are in this region right now, we could then break down how many prospects are being generated per scout in that region. Now, with this being said, I'm 100% aware that most of these numbers on these sheets are going to be proven incorrect in the future. And that's not why I made this video. It really is just about getting people excited, wanting to find out more and wanting to participate in these projects. For me, it's important that we work together on forming a more profitable future when it comes to prospects, and everyone participating in that is adding to this. If you're interested in the tactics of scouting that I have been creating based off all the knowledge that I have tried to dig up, please reach out, please let me know how you found that content, and if you would be interested in a video explaining more of those specific tactics that some of you have been reading about in the youth section. And thanks again for everything, and let me know in the comments what you think.